What was the beginning?
The beginning of Metal Gear, I guess,
start
is...
at the very beginning.
The beginning of
We're
Metal
gonna
Gear...
get contact match by whoever owns The Sound of Music. I can't help it.
Well, I'm just, for the fact that I'm talking about Metal Gear at all, I'm ready to get copyright claimed. Like, Konami set up... It doesn't even have to be any of their footage or any of their gameplay or music or anything. It's just the word Metal Gear.
Again, let's start at the very beginning, though, which is a very good place to start.
Yeah, the very beginning of Metal Gear
chronologically.
Is World War II, which is the boss and the Cobra unit helping the Allies win.
What did they do exactly? Like, did they ever describe the missions of the Cobra unit, or they just did stuff?
The boss mentions a top secret mission she was on for World War II, and it was like, it wasn't like kill Hitler with bees like you think it would be.
It should have been. They would have ended the war a lot better.
It was something.
It's like, boop, turns out he has a bee allergy.
It was something like going after like gun installations.
They didn't have no EpiPen in 1943.
They were
over.
They were there on D-Day, so I think they were going after gun.
They were not at their best on D-Day. What was that about? Not operating 100%. What happened on D-Day?
Well, there were a lot of ghosts for the Sorrow to talk to, at least.
Yeah, but like, what was the boss doing on D-Day? I'm asking leading questions here.
The boss is the mother of Special Forces. She was just a very talented, like, legendary soldier that had earned everybody's respect. And she was working with the Cobra unit, which was the fear, the sorrow, the pain, the end, and the fury, who are all the wacky bosses that you fight later on in Gears 3. She was pregnant at the time of that because she was in love with the sorrow, and
when a man and a woman love each other very much, they are automatically pregnant.
Yeah. The boss gave birth to her baby on the battlefield during World War II, during the whole D-Day stuff.
And that baby's never mentioned again. No, it's World War II. What happens?
The boss's child was taken away by the organization known as the Philosophers after she gave birth. The Philosophers, I guess, were actually even earlier before the boss. They were an organization that was like the most powerful people in the US, Russia, and China. The boss was the daughter of one of the Philosophers from the American branch. After World War II, they all split up because they had a lot of differences, or something that also is not particularly elaborated upon. And
so the Allies win the war in part due to the actions of the boss and the Cobra unit.
Yep.
Who are all named after wonderful feelings like fear and sorrow.
The boss also had another nickname. It was the Joy. That was her.
Somebody's having fun. Thank God.
Yeah. The sorrow. He's always crying, little baby.
No, they stole the baby.
Well, that's why he's crying.
Okay.
The boss after that point has like a ton of respect. The Cobra unit kind of like gets split up. They kind of all go back to their own home countries. So the boss
Weren't they mostly all American?
Most of them were American, but the Sorrow was Russian.
Okay, so just the odd man out. Well, no, the Fury was Russian too, right?
The Fury,
Ned.
I think, was also...
My good friend
Ned. I think he was also Russian, yes.
His outfit sure was.
The boss gets assigned to another secret mission where she has to go back to Russia, and she has to kill some people, and one of those people is the Sorrow.
Oh,
and she...
Young love. That's the way it goes.
She shoots the Sorrow dead, and his body falls into, like, a ravine, whatever, in just a random forest in Russia, where he turns into a ghost. Because
she's also the first American in space.
Yeah, she's also the first one who gets sent into space.
While Fury is the first Russian in space.
If I remember correctly, yeah. No, he's not the first Russian in space.
Why didn't they all go to space?
No, he wasn't the first Russian, because that was in Metal Gear Land. That's still Yuri Gagarin.
Okay.
The boss is technically the first human in space by a mere like hour or two, but it's not in the history books because when she was like at NASA and stuff, like she was pushed around a lot for all that shit, and there were like a lot of fuck ups with that, and so they were never able to admit that, like, yeah, we sent the first person into space because it was like almost a tremendous failure or something like that. So
Because that's how the space race works. You win, and then you keep it secret. But the real question I'm asking is, why hasn't there been a Metal Gear in space?
I don't know. That'd be pretty fun. That would be
Why hasn't there been a Metal Gear in space?
That would be, in my dreams, that would be when they finally just make Metal Gear go so far in the future that it connects to Zone of the Enders.
Oh, yeah, cool.
If you can't get Zone of the Enders 3 made, just have it happen.
Cockpit. Yeah.
Yeah, just have it happen in Metal Gear and call it Zone of the Enders as the subtitle, and there, fuck you, now we have a new Zone of the Enders.
So yeah, the boss is doing a lot of missions, and she's being disrespected by the people she's doing missions for.
At the same time, the Philosophers had split up, and the huge amount of money that they made was called the Philosopher's Legacy, which was just tons of secret bank accounts all over the world. That was all documented in like some microfilm. And at that point, the microfilm fell into the hands of, I can't actually remember his name right now. It was Volgan. His last name was Volgan. It was the Volgan you fight in MGS3. It was his dad.
Papa Volgan.
Yeah, Papa Volgan, who got his hands on the whole legacy thing. And the only explanation is how he got it. It was in the confusion of the war.
It's a confusing time.
Yeah, he grabbed.
Everybody's very confused.
He grabbed the whole thing.
You don't know whether it's Monday or Wednesday. Up is down, left is right. Hey, here's the legacy. I got it. It's mine now.
I found it. It was on the ground, right next to my feet. Around that point, there's a man named John who has no last name. Who
an unfortunate situation to find oneself in. Not even Doe. He can't even write that.
He was a nuclear test subject in Bikini Atoll. That's the earliest thing you know about John.
And didn't that make him sterile? Like he could not have. Am I making this up?
You know, I don't quite remember anymore if he's actually.
His sperm count was like, right?
Possibly.
Right?
I think.
Like even if they don't say it like logically.
You'd think he would be,
just shriveled like raisins. poor Johnny boy. And he's the boss's special little trooper.
Yeah, he was in the Green Berets and stuff, and he was like the apprentice, the protege for the boss.
And they went to a secret island, and they taught each other to fight real good.
A little bit after that, the boss vanishes because she's on a secret mission, and at the same time, there is a Russian scientist named Sokolov who was working on a secret weapon for the Russians, but he was trying to escape and like request asylum in the U.S. He escaped once with, and they eventually brought him back to the U.S. They were about to bring him back to the U.S. and around the time the Cuban Missile Crisis happened, there's this is Metal Gear Solid 3 now.
We're into where the games happen,
where
folks.
the earliest chronological game.
We've so far mentioned things from at least 3 games, and we're now to the point where you
are in one of the games. Sokolov gets taken. He escapes Russia.
Like a chump.
Yeah, he gets over the Iron Curtain. He's hospitalized for a little bit.
Iron Curtain chump.
the trip tuckered him out a whole lot. And
the dangers of Cold War jet lag.
And around then the Cuban Missile Crisis happens, and the whole Cuban Missile Crisis thing in Metal Gear Land is actually like a ruse, because apparently like the missiles aren't useful at all for some reason, because the yeah. So,
and a bunch of garbage.
Yeah, the whole thing was essentially just to make for Russia to get Sokolov back, so they have to return him. And now there's more reports from moles that he's being forced to work on some big thing. And at that time, John, who is now codenamed Naked Snake, is sent into Russia on a stealth mission to go retrieve Sokolov and bring him back to the U.S.
Because, you know, he needs a job real bad.
Yeah.
He's just been hanging out and learning to punch good with knife gun. What was the boss's original mission?
So at the beginning of MGS3, you can talk to the boss over the radio. All you know is that she's on a top secret mission, and she's talking to you from a submarine in the Arctic.
Sure.
I think it's the Arctic, but she's in a
So
submarine.
she's like your support crew while like it's John's. It's baby's day out. He's
Baby's
finally
day
getting
out.
to prove himself
I'm the
solo,
baby.
right?
Gotta love me, yeah. On the support crew for that is Major Zero, because Snake works for a newly developed thing called the Fox Unit that is run by a British dude named Major Zero. I'm drinking too much, I have the hiccups.
You need to drink more to cure the hiccups.
Yeah.
You gotta catch up to me, dude.
And when Snake gets into like the jungles
The
of
jungles
Russia,
of Russia, and which is right next door to the deserts of Russia, and
the mountains of Russia.
Mountains of Russia.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of weird that they kind of act like there's kind of jungly, but there'd be more like forests, and there are also a lot of animals in that game that would not be in Russia.
And not
Like
within
Jap-
walking distance from one biome to another.
Yeah, there wouldn't be.
That's
I don't
weird,
think there would be
that's
any.
the real weird thing.
I don't think there would be any Japanese flying squirrels, but there are.
They flew really good. They flew so good.
Some of them just happened to catch a really big updraft, and they went really far. And they just had to keep gliding until they hit the ground.
And he never saw Bullwinkle again.
Oh.
Never. But yeah, Johnny Boy, he's getting the science man. And how does that work out?
He finds him very quickly. But when he's trying to take him out, or take him back out of the area, because they're gonna like Fulton them with the balloon.
Yeah.
Snake and Sokolov get caught by there's several factions in Russia at the time that were kind of warring against each other. So there's like the KGB and there's the GRU. He gets caught by the GRU soldiers first, and then they get then the Spetsnaz unit arrives, and it's the Ocelot unit, who is led by a dude named Ocelot, who is an 18-year-old boy.
Why would one name a dude Ocelot?
I don't know, but he likes to make meowing noises to summon his soldiers. Yeah, he goes meow, and then everybody appears and they have guns.
Well, why was this 18-year-old so good at soldiering to get his own unit?
Well, he's just like an up-and-coming kid. He's like 18.
He meows so good they give him a command?
He's super great. Ocelot, I should also mention, is the baby the boss gave birth to during World War II. Although he doesn't know that because, again, he was stolen by the Philosophers and raised by the Philosophers. Oh god, this is gonna take so long.
It is. Like, you can sum up this game in like 2 sentences, or you can actually explain it, and then there's so many more to go.
Ocelot kills all the GRU dudes because he's so good with his gun, he can like ricochet bullets and hit dudes he can't even see. But Snake knows CQC, which is something he learned and developed with the boss, which is close quarters combat. It's you hold a knife, you have a gun, and then you have a knife, and then you make it a knife gun, and that lets you like grab people and throw them really good.
But we have Krav Maga now, so never mind. Who cares?
But he CQC, Snake CQCs everybody really good. He makes a big impression on Ocelot at the time. He gives Ocelot some advice on how he shoots, because he shoots his gun sideways.
So the whole point of their character relationship through the rest of this game, where they will face off time and time again, is that Ocelot is trying really, really hard to be really, really cool.
Yeah, solely
and
to
Snake
live
is
up
just
to
not,
Naked Snake.
Just not having it.
Yeah.
It's weird to be a mentor to the guy trying to kill you time and time again. That's an interesting dynamic you don't see a lot.
Yeah. But Snake goes to escape with Sokolov afterwards. They spot the new thing that Sokolov has been working on in the mountains.
What is it?
It's a tank.
What are they doing?
They're doing missile launch tests on it.
Missile launches, oh my god.
To see if the tank can launch missiles from different types of terrain, because it's like on top of a mountain, all weird.
Mountain missiles are the worst kind. If they shoot mountain missiles, we're fucked.
And they're going to go across a bridge to get to a place where they can fold.
And it's this rickety rope bridge.
Rickety rope bridge.
Yeah, it's Temple of Doom style shit.
And then when they're going across that, the boss is there all of a sudden, not in the submarine like she said she was, I know, telling Naked Snake that it's all over and all this shit. And at the same time, a whole bunch of hornets appear, a band who controls bees comes down, he picks up Sokolov into a helicopter, and the entire Cobra unit is in there, except for the boss and the Sorrow, because the Sorrow's fucking dead. The boss says that she's defecting to the Soviet Union, and then Volgin comes in.
And she, like, flips you the double bird.
Yeah.
And, just like a wrestling crotch chop. Yeah.
Yeah. And Volgin appears, and she's, like, defecting to his side because he's trying to overthrow the current Russian government, who is Khrushchev right now.
That guy.
That guy.
Khrushchev. You know what I'm talking about.
And the boss delivers some things to, like, prove her loyalty to Volgin now, which are some miniature nuclear warheads and a Davy Crockett.
Davy Crockett.
A Davy Crockett, which is an actual real thing this military is working on. A portable nuke launcher, which sounds like it'd be great for the person shooting it.
Oh, sure.
He'd be fine afterwards.
Dave's testicles are already itty babies.
Oh, poor Dave.
I mean, John, Joe, Jack?
John.
Yeah, whatever.
Dave, too.
We'll talk about Dave eventually.
I'm so sorry, Dave. Naked Snake tries to fight the boss and all this stuff. And she very easily like, breaks his arm and stuff and throws him over a bridge.
Breaks his arm like nothing. Like a twig. Like a toothpick of a man. Cast him into the abyss.
She throws him into the river down below. He gets washed away and all that. In the river he's in, the corpse of the Sorrow is really close to him, and you can see it. Just a skeleton wearing a sweater, because that's what the Sorrow like to wear, gray sweaters.
He was a sensitive
gray turtleneck
guy.
sweaters.
A sensitive man in the Special Forces.
And when Snake's fixing himself up, Volgin and the boss and Ocelot are all on helicopters, along with some other ones that are carrying the tank Sokolov is working on to another place.
Carrying, like, on their shoulders?
Like with cables, towing it.
Okay, because
beneath.
The Cobra unit would be a lot cooler if they just hoisted that thing. Like it was its bachelor party. And they were going to launch some fucking nukes. Party tonight!
And while they're on their way in the helicopters, Volgin takes the Davy... Well, before that even, there's another lady who's on the helicopter who is supposedly Sokolov's wife. Her name's Tatiana. And Volgin's very interested in her. And then he eventually just pulls out.
Men tend to be interested in their wives. I know you don't have one. You might not be aware.
No, I'm saying Volgin is.
But trust me. Oh, whose wife now?
Sokolov's.
Sokolov's wife.
Yeah.
He's interested in Sokolov's. Men are sometimes interested in other men's wives. I hope you don't know anything about that. I'll fuck you up. I'll fuck you up.
There's throw me over a bridge.
There's a window right there. You'll fit. There ain't even a grate.
It's a big window.
You are much smaller than this window.
It's twice the height of me. So, Volgin takes one of the Davy Crockett's, and he goes, "Fuck it, this will be cool." And he shoots a nuke at a research facility, a Russian research facility that isn't. He's destroying it because it's not something that he has. Or it's.
And he's a whiny little baby man.
Yeah, he's large and he has lightning powers. He shoots lightning from his body.
He's got lightning powers.
There's no explanation for this. Don't ask. He just shoot lightning.
Thick fist, thin skin. That dude can't take it. He can dish it. He can't take it.
Yeah. He launches a nuke. It blows up the research facility. And then soon afterwards, Snake is fultoned away after he fixes his arm and all that shit. And because that nuke is launched, it makes Russia immediately think... Well, it makes Khrushchev really upset because now Volgin is stealing like this really important weapon that the Russians were developing. And also because the boss defected and it was an American nuke that did that, Russia's really upset and they're like... almost ready to go to war.
This looks to the entire world, which is poised on the brink of international nuclear war, that they see a nuclear explosion in Russian territory. Who would do that? Obviously, the Americans were like, boop, World War III.
Yeah.
Except there's this phone call that's incredibly tense.
There's a phone call, and the Khrushchev is talking with the president, and
Lyndon Baines Johnson and his
Yep.
gigantic testicles. While we're on this running theme,
you need to order some more pants. They have a talk, and it's like, oh, I understand, like, the boss supposedly defected, because even people outside of America know who the boss is because she's so legendary, I guess. And Snake is assigned.
I would remember anyone who has a scar from like here to here.
Yeah.
You don't forget that.
Yeah. The Fox unit is in a lot of trouble because they fucked up. So
Her scar does like curly cues for some
yeah,
reason.
it does.
It's a tribal tat all over her torso with stitches.
Snake is recovering, then like about a week later, he's reassigned to go back in and to prove America's innocence.
You fucked up so bad that you're the only guy that can fix it.
Yeah, Snake has to go back in and destroy the new, as a favor for Khrushchev, essentially, and to prove America's quote-unquote innocence. America has to send in Naked Snake, kill the boss, destroy that weapon, and also kill Volgin.
Because he's a shithead.
Yeah, and then Russia and America will be even. Snake gets sent back in, and the support staff grows a little bit because now it's Major Zero still. Before his codename was Major Tom, but he fucked up. He was thinking of the Great Escape, and he named himself after one of the tunnels that they went through, and it was the one that they didn't escape through, so he just changed it to Major Zero, because like, fuck it. Zero's a good number.
Oh, Zero is my hero. As described in the Schoolhouse Rock song, My Hero, Zero.
Oh, thank you, Zero. Snake gets back in. He sneaks through some of the areas he was in before. He's meant to meet up with two NSA informants, Adam and Eva.
And they have two kids, and one of them is a real fuckboy.
Yeah, he's... Snake seeks back to where he was meant to find Sokolov. He's ambushed by some KGB soldiers, and he is saved by a lady on a motorcycle who shoots her gun sideways at all times. And she
It's a
claims...
real theme.
Yeah,
Always
shooting
with
sideways
side-
is pretty cool.
Are they lowriders at the time?
No.
Are they sipping on gin and juice?
No, they're just getting shot with bullets.
Okay.
They died. Snake meets up with this lady who claims to be Eva. Who
Claims to. There's some foreshadowing right there.
Whoa. There's no Adam. She claims that Adam couldn't make it. They talk about like the mission they're working on. He gets some like sweet disguises and stuff because he eventually has to go. Snake has to go into a lab to find Sokolov, so he has to disguise as a scientist.
I'm a scientist.
I'm smart.
I have a handkerchief that makes people fall asleep.
Eva gave him a gun that Naked Snake was way into, and goes to sleep, wakes back up, and then Ocelot is back there with some more of the unit he commands.
Ooh.
Dang it, Ocelot. And he didn't meow this time. They were just there. And Ocelot eventually like captures Eva and tries to threaten Snake with that. And this time he has a revolver, but it's got like a ton of crazy like super like sweet engravings on it because he just bought like the coolest looking revolver he could.
Yeah.
He tries to shoot Snake, but he fucked up again. So then Eva does a sweet backflip and then ramps off Ocelot with her motorcycle and leaves. And her motorcycle makes a dinosaur noise.
Nice.
And then Ocelot runs away. Good job, Ocelot.
We need to So the players are set of Metal Gear Solid 3.
Yeah.
We are in the mission. What's important about it? What do we need to know?
At this point, like, the main goal is to just get to the lab where Sokolov is. So while you're sneaking through there, you eventually confront Ocelot again, fight him. Hornets invade while you're fighting him, so you can't finish each other off or anything.
So you gotta fight the pain.
Yeah, after that, you fall into a gorge, you fight the pain. Afterwards, you come across Volgin and the boss and Tatiana.
You fight everybody.
And
This big four-way brawl.
Yep.
At SummerSlam.
At this point, like, this is the first time Volgin learns that, like, you killed one of the Cobras, and he gets really upset, so they dispatch the Fear. This is the one chance where you see the end in a wheelchair, and you can just snipe him, kill him right away if you want. You very briefly see Sokolov, but they move him away to the lab at this point. Once you sneak there, you look for Sokolov throughout this whole facility disguised as a scientist.
But you find a different scientist.
Yeah, Sokolov isn't there anymore. They've moved him somewhere else. But you do find Granin, who is the dude who was working on weapons beforehand. He had the Medal of Lenin, or whatever it was called.
He had an idea that they thought was just too crazy.
Yeah, he was way into tanks with bipedal locomotion and all this. But he's really annoyed that, like, they took away all of his funding so they could fund Sokolov instead. He's super drunk, and because of that, like, he doesn't give a shit that you're a spy. He's just like, I just want you to blow that fucking thing up. I hate it. Took my job away. He also very briefly mentions that...
What if Wozniak was really bitter instead of like a teddy bear man?
Yeah. He has blueprints for that bipedal locomotion weapons platform thing he was talking about. He said he's going to send to a friend in the United States.
This pen pal he's got.
Yeah.
You know, not like there's secret military documents or anything.
No.
Nah.
And so eventually you get more information on where to go to find Sokolov. He's actually been taken to Groznyj Grad, which is this big fortress Volgin has.
There's a J in there because Russian is a weird language.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's all about.
Snake compliments Granin on his shoes, which he says he got from that lady Tatiana, which ends up
She
being...
has good taste in shoes.
So you sneak through, going to Groznyj Grad. You eventually encounter the End, which is the really old man who is a photosynthetic sniper. You defeat him in a bunch of different ways. You encounter the ladder, which is the sweet ladder you climb up that plays the Snake Eater song.
Mm-hmm. The ladder is not a boss. Like,
no,
you don't have to shoot the ladder.
No.
You just climb
It's very memorable, though.
Okay.
Yeah. You sneak through some mountains that eventually takes you to a point where you meet up with Eva again. You are able to get a decent vantage point to spy on Groznyj Grad. You find out that Volgin is really upset about more of the Cobras being killed, and
Like
he's
the only people that will listen to him because he pays them, and he's a shit. He sucks.
And he's also playing like fucking bowling with barrels that he's punching really hard. One of the barrels has granite in it because he found out. He thought he might have been a spy because he knows that there's a spy in their midst now. And Granite did, in his shoes, have like some type of low tracking device in it. And at this point, you're just sneaking more. You counter the Fury and defeat him, and he turns into a weird fire ghost.
I love the story of your dad watching you fight the Fury and thinking that it was a Harry Potter game.
Yes! Yeah, he thought it was a Harry Potter game.
That's my favorite story.
Yeah. And at this point, you eventually reach Groznyj Grad, and you have to sneak in. You have a disguise to look like one of the colonels there, Rydenovich, who is
pretty.
He's very pretty and is like one of the boy toys that Volgin has. So you have to steal his...
Volgin gives no mind to gender.
No.
He's gonna fuck him if he likes them. Parts be damned.
So you eventually sneak in, you take Rydenovich's outfit, you have a mask of his face, you eventually meet up with Sokolov again, and he tells you what the entire like weapons platform thing was, which is called the Shagohod. It's a big tank that propels itself so hard that it can be like the first stage of a nuclear rocket.
Yeah.
So it can just fling a rocket somewhere without any actual thing. It can go in like any type of terrain because it has drill treads, I guess.
Yeah.
Drill treads. And when you're...
It's metal as hell.
Yeah.
It's also made of metal. Every definition.
This is also where you learn the origin of the Metal Gear term. Well, earlier when you were talking to Gran, because he was talking that there was going to be like a weapon that was like the missing link between infantry...
Infantry?
Infantry.
And artillery.
Infantry and artillery. I'm getting fucked up a little now. So it's like the Metal Gear in between them. While you're talking to Sokolov, he also had research data on the Shagohod that he gave to Tatiana, who was surprised. It's the spy. It's Eva. It's really easy to tell throughout the whole game. It's not a surprise or anything. And while you're talking to him, eventually Volgin comes in and very easily sees through your disguise because Snake's testicles are different from Rydenovich's, I guess.
Bitty babies.
Yeah. Oh no,
tiny.
Bikini Atoll. If that wouldn't have happened, his cover wouldn't have been blown. Or the fact that his mask didn't have a movable mouth. It had eyelids, though. So, Snake's cover has been blown, and Vulcan is going to kill him. But the boss comes in, interrupts.
Don't mind me.
Boss comes in, interrupts, and eventually Snake is taken captive because Vulcan wants to know why Naked Snake is there. Thinks it's because he's after the Philosopher's legacy, which Snake had no idea before then, which is the secret hidden cache of funds the Philosophers had amassed that Vulcan now has. So Snake gets tortured. The boss is told to like cut out Snake's eyes to prove her loyalty.
Yeah.
But before that can happen, Ocelot decides to do a triple revolver.
He does the triple Indy.
The triple revolver like roulette thing. But he's trying to do it at Tatiana, and Snake swings, knocks Ocelot, his gun misfires, and then blows up one of his eyeballs.
And from then on, like, if you're playing Metal Gear Solid 3 3D, the 3D doesn't work
3D doesn't work in first
for
person.
the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Which is great.
While Naked Snake was being tortured, Sokolov was also killed, just punched to death by Vulcan, because he's trying to figure out who the spy is and all this.
Cut your losses, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's one thing I like about Vulcan. Like, he's an idiot, but he's not an idiot. Like,
Yeah.
he sucks, but he does what he ought to do.
Yeah.
To a degree.
Naked Snake is taken to a prison cell because his torture's not finished yet, but Vulcan has to do stuff. And at this point, there's a whole bunch of ways Snake can escape. One of them is by getting a frequency by giving all of your food back to the guy, the patrolman, who is named Johnny, who has a large J on his balaclava.
Custom balaclava.
Custom balaclava.
The only one.
Johnny is a soldier who has bowel problems. At that point, that's all that's happening.
Technically, the first soldier to have bowel problems.
It is the first Johnny, a long line of Johnnies throughout Metal Gear. It's another one of the ways you can escape. You just have to wait for him to have bathroom problems, and he can escape your cell while he's pooping.
There's a thing about Metal Gear that nothing is left alone. Like, anything that makes even a little bit of impact will be touched on in a later game. And since the release order is not their chronological order, it might turn out to be an earlier game.
Yeah. It makes a drunk history thing really hard. He escapes to the sewers, but they know he's escaped. They close off the routes.
Because he's got the frog. Is the frog not canon? Frog's not canon. Fuck the frog.
Mission J Frog.
Don't fuck frogs.
It's a separate canon. It's a slightly alternate universe that we have created. We are doing the mainline thing. See our other video.
Yeah. That'll be sober history, because it's the one that really counts. Ours, not theirs.
Tries to escape. Ocelot catches up with him and again tries to kill him. Now he has a necklace with a single bullet on it, which is the one he is saving to kill Snake with. But he jumps off a waterfall.
Which seems bad, right? Like, he finally gets him cornered. He's like, hold up. I gotta take this off. I gotta
take the necklace off.
That's the right one? Okay. Oh, where'd he go? God
he jumped down the waterfall.
Fucking hell.
Jumping down the waterfall renders him unconscious, but he is able to escape. He wakes up and is walking through a river full of ghosts because the Sorrow is there. He's now encountered the Sorrow, and he has to run through a river of all the people he's killed, which depending on the play might be a lot or a little. This encounter with the Sorrow is actually an effort to make sure that Snake wakes back up, because throughout the entire game, Sorrow appears. The Sorrow can secretly appear if you look around enough. Anytime there's rain and thunder. And Vulcan is always saying throughout the game, Kuwabara, Kuwabara, which is supposed to be a thing to ward away thunder and the storms and stuff.
But so yeah, you have another boss fight, which isn't really a boss fight. It's more like trudging through your sordid past.
Yeah.
But and then what do we need to know for the future? What do we need to know?
Snake eventually meets up with Eva again and is given the C3 he needs to blow up the Shagopod.
C3?
Yeah, not C4. It's
they haven't
the 60s,
invented that yet?
So it's C3. Apparently, I don't know if C3 is a real thing or if they just went, oh, it's older. Well, if we just went C4 -1. I don't know.
Either way. Tell us, folks. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you in advance.
Snake sneaks back into the Groznyj Grad, goes back to the Shagohod, places bombs in the fuel tanks and blow them up. But unfortunately, while this is happening, Volgin figures out, or rather Ocelot does, figures out that Titania/Eva was the spy. Oh my god. So while the countdown is happening for the bombs to blow up and take out the fuel tanks, take out the Shagohod, Ocelot and Volgin and the boss are all kind of holding Snake up. And talking a little bit more about the Philosopher's Legacy.
All right, so on one level, you're getting this information back for the U.S. On another level, you're earning Russia's trust in order to forego nuclear holocaust. And on another level, you are on the quest for the great wealth of the Philosopher's Legacy. How does it shake out? In the end, we've been talking about this one game for an hour.
It's an incredibly important one. But you eventually fight Volgin, you escape with Eva, you destroy the Shagohod, you kill Volgin, you escape with Eva, who eventually becomes seriously injured, you sneak to the forest with her, you get to the plane that you're going to leave through, but before you can, you have to fight the boss and kill her. And this is where you learn that the stuff about where, you know, she was the first person in space, and when she was in space, you know, all the continents, they didn't have borders on them. It just made her see... You know, this vision of the world being whole was like a one-world government style thing.
I mean, it's cool in the moment, and it's poetic, and it's something that a lot of people who've been to space talk about. But, like, obviously, like, there's no line item in the federal budget to paint a fucking line.
It's gonna take a long time.
Nobody does that.
You're about to fight her in this beautiful flower field, and she talks about how she was the child of one of the last remaining philosophers from the American branch, and she wants to she has two goals. Either she is going to beat Snake, and she's going to take the Philosopher's Legacy and use this
kick
money.
your ass. And like, their relationship we haven't talked about much. I think it's interesting because she is Naked Snake's Oedipal mother and father simultaneously.
Yeah.
Like, he has to kill her, and he has to become her.
Yeah.
And he has to fuck her. Like, those are his three drives constantly. And their interplay is like what... I like it. It's certainly unique.
It's really unique, and one of the best parts of this game, the first game chronologically.
Yeah.
She's also, you know, a child of one of the remaining philosophers, so if she defeats Snake, she's going to take the Philosopher's Legacy and try to achieve her goal, like a united world, somehow with this huge amount of money this ridiculously huge amount of money she has. And then the other thing is, you know, if she... You know, otherwise she'll just be killed by Snake, and that'll be the end of what she's doing.
Yeah.
Snake defeats her and has to, you know, shoot
while
her.
wearing a monkey mask.
While wearing a monkey mask.
That part is canon, right?
That is, yeah.
Okay.
Snake is very, you know, upset about having killed the boss, but he escapes with Eva. He has the Philosopher's Legacy as well, the microfilm. He got it from the boss. And... They eventually...
Because, like, the secret is that she went undercover for the U.S.
Yes.
She's faking, like, defection so she can get the legacy and get it to the U.S.
Snake can even get to the U.S. and all that.
Yeah.
And Eva steals the Philosopher's Legacy from Snake and all that. And the boss told her all of what her actual mission was, and it was to fake defection to the Soviet Union because they know... The CIA knows that Volgin has the Philosopher's Legacy, and she needs to get close to him so she can steal it from him. But there is a kink to the plan where Volgin actually launched the nuke, which wasn't planned, so it had to be revised so that Snake went in, killed the boss so that they could keep America's innocence, and also still get the Philosopher's Legacy back.
Right.
So her whole mission was to die for her country. All that without anybody knowing that she was actually a hero,
and be buried a traitor and her name dragged through the mud and whatever. And so her final wish, which is very important,
her final wish is to have her will, so to speak, is to have the world unified as one with no borders and all that.
She wants a place where soldiers can always be.
Yeah, and that very heavily impacts everybody who worked on this mission. So
everything we've talked about for the last hour and a goddamn half.
It's like the most important part. It's what sets up everything of every other game.
It sets up this one event that then sets up every game. Because everything from here on is just people disagreeing over what the boss really meant.
Yeah. So everybody who was major in this operation got seriously affected by what the boss,
However, it's not done. Like, what happens to the legacy?
Eva steals the legacy
because she wasn't really Eve. She was faking.
She wasn't Eva. She was actually a Chinese agent for the Chinese branch of the philosophers.
Do we ever know who the real Eve was?
She's never
nothing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, the real Adam did actually show up, but it was actually Ocelot, because his actual name Adamska.
And that's why he it casts all his actions in another light. He was never trying to kill.
He's actually a triple agent. He's a philosopher agent who's working for the CIA, who pretends to be he's Russian and works for the KGB, who then reports back to the CIA.
Which is a bit of a theme going forward with this character.
With Ocelot, yeah. Eva steals the philosopher's legacy is actually a fake one, because the boss had the fake one on purpose to get the snake, while Ocelot took the actual philosopher's legacy back for the U.S. And it ends up that also the philosopher's legacy, the grab, was only half of it. It's not even the entire legacy.
But otherwise, the day is saved. There is no
Big Boss
World War III.
Yeah, although the Big Boss is seriously fucked up over it.
Naked Snake.
Naked Snake is seriously...
But he killed the boss.
And therefore the President Johnson awards him the title of Big Boss.
Yeah, okay. And that's the end.
Yeah.
Like, there's some little things,
MGS3.
but yeah, that's the end. What happens after MGS3? Portable Ops. Never mind. What happens after Portable Ops?
Let's sum up Portable Ops really quickly. In like a couple sentences, because Portable Ops is super important, and it's kind of canonical. Is it a really weird wibbly wobbly place? Because Snake was so successful with that, the Fox got turned into Foxhound.
Okay, so Foxhound started in the late 60s?
Excuse me, it was still the Fox unit at this point. It was still Fox unit, but now there's way more members in it. They're all super-powered, weird people. They staged rebellion, and Major Zero is the one.
So it's one of those CIA Latin American.
Yeah.
We don't want anyone who cares about their people and might be a little bit pink, so we'll stage a rebellion to get a brutal dictator who likes America. Things, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Major Zero is still in command of the Fox unit, but the Fox unit rebels and all this stuff in Central America, and Major Zero is framed for this. Snake / Big Boss has to go fix all this. The main thing is this was a ploy with Major Zero and Ocelot. It was a ploy to find the CIA director who had the other half of the Philosopher's Legacy and kill him to start this new organization that would enact the boss's will.
Right, and that's the first sign of people having differing interpretations of the boss's will.
A little.
And there's some other events that then get redone later and better in other games. So we don't really care about Portable Ops at all.
Yeah, while the Portable Ops stuff was happening, Snake attracted some soldiers to his side who idolized him.
Roy Campbell suddenly exists, but we'll talk about him when he's important later.
Yeah.